Hello and welcome back to WBBL action here at the Crags Centre in Edinburgh. Today's game is a matchup between Caledonia Pride and the visiting Durham Palatinates. Rona, the inside presence of Claire Paxton and Cara Elderkin is going to be a tough matchup for Pride here today. What do you expect to see from both of them? Obviously, you played with Claire previously. What do you expect to see from those two and their inside presence?
Yeah, I think, as you pointed out, having played with Claire, in Scotland stuff, I know that she's an athletic and she's putting in a big role and a big shift for Durham, and I think that's something Pride will be aware of, having in the first year setup. And I think what Pride might look to do, between Cara and Claire is rotate round on them, using their fitness and the fact that they didn't have a game yesterday due to today's cup final, whereas Durham obviously did. So, Pride's legs are probably feeling a bit fresher to be able to work their defence round on that. And I think, with Claire and with Cara, Claire especially, she can shoot very unexpectedly. She can shoot off the drive on a step back, and that can just make someone so difficult to defend. And she also has a bit of a habit of shooting almost from behind her head, and that in itself, trying to block that, draws a lot of fouls. So I think they'll maybe be looking towards, how much did they run yesterday. I think, they played about 33 and 37 minutes respectively, which is a big shift to put in the day before another big game. So I think Pride will probably try and look to exploit that. Basically, they've got their own inside threat and their own game plan that they'll be looking to stick to.
Yeah, definitely. Durham obviously coming into this one with that game yesterday, and they're still looking for their first win of the season. These two sides last met in January at Queen's Campus Sports Centre, where Caledonia Pride ran out 78-60 victors. In that last game, though, it was points in the paint that really settled it for Pride, managing to come up 44-38 against Durham. Points in turnovers, 19-12 to Pride. Second chance points, Pride narrowly missing out on that on 12-9. And then, of course, fast break points, 27-6. Rona, we're likely to probably see a bit of zone played here from Durham, and likely be a 2-3 zone. They played a lot of that yesterday. What are the kind of keys to Pride breaking down that Durham zone defence?
I think, zone, it's looking for people, it's forcing them to shoot outside teams, and I think, that could play into Pride's hands. They've been shooting really well from outside the perimeter. We've seen it with Maud, we've seen it with Rose, Polly, Shan, they're all comfortable shooting from out there. And actually, in their last game that they played, Pride shot better from 3-point land than they did 2-point land. So, that's something to bear in mind when you're going to be putting on a zone against a team like that. And I think, that's definitely something Durham will be aware of, but I don't really think the zone will be that much of an issue for Pride if they get their shots going today.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned Rose Harvey there. She shot 6 from 10 at 3-point range in the game against Newcastle. Great shooting display from the young Pride guard. It's likely that Durham will be without the services of Lithuanian guard Gerda Merkinate, but they did welcome back GB Youth International Katie Bennett in their last game against Oakland, and Katie came out with 4 points, 1 rebound and 3 assists in that one. So a good addition for Durham to have back in the side. For Pride, the key again will no doubt be managing those fouls, especially for the post players Pollyanna Story and Shan Phillips. I'd expect to see a lot of minutes from the bench players in this one, as Pride will no doubt look to push the tempo of the basketball game, trying to get out in front of that zone defense, try and beat them up the floor, and again get off in the fast break battle. And hopefully we will have some team news for you shortly as the teams warm up, getting ready for this one. As Rona mentioned, there is obviously the WBBL Cup final going on just now, so we will try to bring you some live updates from that one as well. In WBBL action, 7 Oaks Suns defeated Essex Rebels 64-52 earlier today, and we have the team news for you now. And so The visiting Durham will start with Claire Paxton, Greta Hurtado-Burbito, Ellie Hutchison, Lise Van Straten, and the final of the 5 for Durham will be Cara Elderkin. For the Pride, they look to start with Maud Ranger, Shan Phillips, Rose Harvey, Ella Docherty, and Pollyanna Story. Ella Docherty obviously sat out in the last game against Newcastle, so it's good to see her back in the action today after a full week of practices. And so we will bring the action from this one just shortly as the coaches have their final say before tip-off. Just a minute to go until we bring you today's WBBL action.
And Rory, are you just wanting to quickly put out your apologies for how many times we'll say the Durham team name wrong today?
Yeah, I've already added one to that tally. I think I'm just going to refer to them as Durham as much as I can. But yeah, it's a difficult one. And so referee Cammy McClay will look to get us underway for opening tip here, and it's Pride Basketball Pollyanna Story coming up with the possession, and Pride will look to get their first points on the board. Ella Docherty driving left, puts up an off-balance shot, can't get it to go, and so Claire Paxton will bring down the rebound. And inside to Van Straten, she looks to make her way to the basket, but good ball defense from Ella Docherty, and tipped out. It's going to be Durham basketball underneath the basket. Van Straten, the inbound to Claire Paxton. She puts up her first shot of the game, but no good. Out in transition early from Pollyanna Story, finishes over the top and gets it to go, and so Pride will put the first points of the ball game on the scoreboard. Claire Paxton
in previous games,
the
I've seen Claire bringing the ball up quite a bit, and that wouldn't be her primary role, you'd imagine, but it seems to be something she's adapting into.
Yeah, and this Durham side have had a lot of additions since January. Jasmine July coming into the setup along with Lise Van Straten, who originally started the season in France, and so they're beginning to find a rhythm. They've played really well together the last couple of weeks, and it'll be interesting to see how they play here today. A must-win for them as they look to go 1-8 on the season. Into the high post with Story, tries to hit a cutting Ranger, but doesn't come off, and kicked out to Rose Harvey, and she'll put up her first three of the game, but no good. And still Pride basketball on the near sideline. Down screen set by Story as Docherty comes off of it, catches it at the wing. Balls with Ranger in the corner. Turnaround jumper, no good, and Elderkin will come up with the rebound for Durham. A little bit of full court pressure from Pride as Durham bring the ball up the floor. And shot no good from Durham, and so Pollyanna Story with a wayward pass trying to find Shan Phillips out in the open floor. Good full court pressure from Maud Rongier, and she manages to get a tip out of bounds.
You can see that press, it's potentially going to cause Durham some problems in your face.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavily contested game throughout, and we'll expect both of these teams to go tooth and nail to the very end as Van Straten catches the ball on the point, which is shot up, but good ball defense again from Ella Docherty. Gets a hand in the face, and she can't get that one to go as it falls short. And Ella Docherty bring the ball up the floor for the Pride. Rose Harvey into Shan with a good step through, but can't get it to go. And it's going to be a jump ball.
That'll be them jumping back into their press. Can make a game seem very long when the other team are pressing you the entire time.
Yeah, and Durham managing to break the press that time with Barbito bringing the ball up the floor, but a scrappy offense from Durham and picked off by Ella Docherty. Finds Story on the wing, kick back, and Ella Docherty with a off-balance shot, can't get it to go. And Shan Phillips is fouled underneath the basket, and so she will shoot two. So Shan makes both, and Durham will look to come back the other way with an opportunity to tie the ball game. Just under 3 minutes played in this one. Pride leading 4-2 against Durham. Claire Paxton swings it across to Ellie Hutchison, who finds Van Straten. But with the drive, can't get anything to go in that shot clock, and so it will be a shot clock violation. Pride ball.
Great defense there from the Pride, moving round, switching off when they have to on their defensive matches, and then ultimately getting the team turnover.
Rongier takes the ball screen from Story, doesn't get a look. And so Shan Phillips drives, looks to kick back out, and it's going to be a turnover for Pride.
Both teams playing, good defense at the moment, knocking each other off their stride a little.
Yeah, it's been a scrappy one to start. Not much of an offense, going with only 6 points in the first 3.5 minutes, but as you said, some good team defense, and it's really going to be who can take care of the basketball in this first quarter to try and get a lead at the break. And Elderkin dribbles it off her foot, but it's recovered by Hutchinson. Back into Elderkin in the low post, swang back out to Barbito, and that's going to be a walk as she took too many steps trying to cut into the paint, and it will be Pride basketball, a turnover once again for Durham. Ella Docherty with the ball now on the point, finds Rongier on the strong side. Ella Docherty driving to the basket, tries to find a cutting. Shan Phillips is picked off, and Durham go the other way, and a great block from Pollyanna Story. She chases down in the open floor.
just they both seem to be wanting to attack the basket, which is great, but there must be a dish or they need to find the open man. So I think they're just all getting a bit congested in there. Route one's not always the best option.
So baseline out of bounds to Durham. Claire Paxton with it on the far side. Kick into Alderkin. Alderkin driving left, guarded by Shan Phillips. And the shot's no good, and so Shan Phillips will pull down her rebound. Kind of spinning Shan Phillips, gets an open look, but can't get it to go. And so it'll be Durham basketball.
Both teams, like you said, just taking a while to settle, not quite, don't know if it's just nerves or what it is, but just, these simple shots, getting them finished under and around the hoop.
Yeah, it's one of the downsides to playing this fast-paced game that Pride like to play, is players often find themselves not slowing down once they get to the basket and looking to have that soft touch around the rim, and so it has been a bit of a frantic start to this basketball game. Both teams turning the ball over as Ella Docherty finds her Phoenix teammate Taryn Cummins. Ella Docherty with the shot, gets her own rebound and manages to get the layup to go, and so Pride jump out to a 4-point lead. And we're going to have a timeout to Durham. So Rona, what's been your thoughts on the initial 5 minutes of action? Lots of turnovers from both sides, and how do you think the Pride can look to extend that 4-point lead that they currently sit on?
I mean, I don't have the most coaching experience behind me, but I think the first thing in the timeout I'd be saying is, breathe. At the moment, it's kind of, up and down and rebounding and turning over and fall off the feet. And, lots of things we've not necessarily seen from either team in previous showings. So I think the girls, need to breathe. They need both teams. They need someone to come out and just steady the boat. I mean, going a little bit slower doesn't necessarily mean you play slower. It just means you play more calm. And just like you saw Ella there, take the outside shot, chase in your rebound, do those simple things well. At the moment, it's just so congested in the key. Both teams need to find a way, to sort of get the defence to spread themselves a little bit and just get some confidence into the game. I think neither of these teams will be happy just over 5 minutes in to have 6 points and 2 points respectively. They both currently have 3 turnovers each. So not an ideal start for either team, but I guess both teams will be happy that the others sort of had the same falter to their start of the game as well. And it's not allowed the other team to shoot out to a big lead.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked at the start about this zone defense from Durham. We haven't really seen it because everything has been out on the open floor on the fast break. So it'll be
there we go, nice
interesting
simple
to
bucket.
see how this get on. Yeah.
Fake high, cut back door, easy too.
Pollyanna Story with it on the wing, finds Docherty. Ball screen, look to double team, and Barbito gets off in the passing lane and gets another easy basket for Durham, and so we'll have a tie ball game. Just over 4 minutes left in the first quarter.
Eventually, I think that'll help Durham. 2 quick baskets, tied ball game.
Orange looks to attack the double team, finds Chan Phillips in the corner, and the ball swung to Story, and she'll heave one up before the shot clock goes. And it's going to be a shot clock violation for Pride, and so Durham basketball.
Nice to see Karen stepped in. Obviously, off the back of a great performance last week, so hoping to see her keep that up today.
So we'll see a full court press again from Pride. Sagging off ever so slightly in the second half of this first quarter. Story is guarding Paxton as she finds Barbito, is swung around, and Durham have it in the low post. Barbito on the cut again, and she is fouled, and That's going to be Shan Phillips' first foul of the night.
You know, just having a look, and Durham shot 93% yesterday from the free throw line. So, you know, down the stretch, that's definitely not somewhere Pride want to, you know, be sending them. I was hoping there I wasn't commentating curse there as they went to shoot.
And so Barbito goes 1 of 2, and Mondranger can't gather the rebound, and it will stay with Durham.
Sometimes those court lines, you know, they play to advantage. Other times, they're too small.
Balls with Katie Bennett
There
as
you
she
go.
drives, and the baseline is now Pride's friend, and so they will have the basketball
like
with
that.
an opportunity to go 3 points ahead. To get back into the lead in this one. Mondranger with the 3, no good. Taryn Cummins on Barbito as she looks pushed by and finds Van Stretten, who is fouled underneath the basket.
You know, whatever the Durham coaches said, you know, they've come out, they seem to have a better shape about them. They're giving themselves more space so they can drive and dish. They're cutting off each other with more success. Just seems to be slightly more spatially aware.
And it's interesting, you know, you mentioned that Claire Paxton brought the ball up for Durham early in this one, but Barbito has really been the floor general in the last 3 or 4 minutes, which is attributed to this now 2-point lead over Pride.
Those little tweaks, you know, they make all the difference in sport.
Karen Cummins backing down. Looks to get the shot to go over Barbito, but it rims out, and so Durham coming back with it. Shan Phillips with a bit of pressure manages to get the jump ball, and so it will be Pride possession. And so a couple of substitutions here for Durham. And Jasmine July will check into the game for the first time tonight.
Again, Durham not having an overly big bench or deep bench. The subs now give them some legs later on.
And with that, Shan Phillips ties up the ball game as we have just over 2 minutes to play in the first quarter of action. And a foul called on Taryn Cummins.
Yeah, I think it's actually worth pointing out that although this is Claire's away game, it's actually her home court. She grew up playing with Caledonia before moving on. So yeah, it's like a homecoming for her. Sure, she knows these hoops well, she'll know the lines well.
And so July makes the second. Yeah, I think that will definitely be an advantage for Claire. Obviously, it's a tight court at the Crags, and knowing those lines is only going to help her today as she looks to extend off the back of 2 great games. She had 6 points and 9 rebounds and 8 points and 6 rebounds yesterday, and so she's been playing well in her last 2 games. It'll be a key matchup for Pride. Elderkin brings it over the half.
She's just such a versatile player, you know. When she gets the ball, you have to worry.
Yeah, Shan Phillips pushing the tempo, trying to get it up as she kicks out, and Sophie Loughran driving right, can't get the floater to drop. Claire Paxton coming up with a rebound, runs the floor, kicked out to Bennett, and she makes the 3 ball. Shan Phillips kicks the locker in, and Eva Kerr backing down on July, but the turnaround is no good.
Triangle over there.
Yeah, they've. Oh, and Claire Paxton with the 3 ball. That's back-to-back threes for Durham, and so Pride will have to start respecting the shooters and get out to those 3-point shots as they go back-to-back threes uncontested. Shan Phillips with the long range 2, no good.
Going to run the clock down, go for the last shot, do you think, Rory?
Yeah, it looks like it as July drives and foul. I believe the foul is going to be on Pollyanna Story. Is that her second, Rona? I believe.
I think that'll be our first foul today.
First, okay.
Catch me on the hop there, Rory, making sure I'm paying attention. Although it is an unfortunate time, to commit a foul. Ball didn't go in, but got to play D.
.7. Pride need to get this rebound and push it quickly. And they'll inbound, and Ella Docherty demanding the ball from her counterpart, Loughran. Ella Docherty looks to take the last shot, and it was a good look, but just couldn't quite get it to drop. And so the end of the first quarter, Caledonia Pride trail Durham 8-17 in this one.
Yep. Durham, coming away with just over 15 points in that last 4 and a bit minutes.
Yeah, and Durham made that adjustment after the early timeout. Coaches never like to blow an early timeout, but very much needed for Durham to kind of steady the ship. And since that, they've looked to kind of play in almost a 5-out set, spread the floor a little bit more, and managing to get cutting guards crashing to the basket.
And, on both sides, scoring, fairly even. Nobody's sort of rushing out on their own at the moment. Shan, interestingly, I think she had 1 point in the last game, which is high. We've come to expect so many things from Shan. But today, she's got 4 points on the board already, so I'm sure it's not going to be a quiet one for her today.
Yeah, it's definitely both teams are a good matchup for one another. In looking at the stats of both teams over the last couple of days, knowing we were coming into this one, it's interesting that both teams kind of spread the points, they share the points across the board. And although Durham today, as we mentioned, a short bench, don't have too many in reserve, but they kind of look to use everyone that they have to their disposal, and that can be said about Caledonia Pride as well. Although they have a lot of bench players, they also look to get people in the rotations early.
They do. You've got Maud sitting on 2, Shan's on 1, Ella's on 1, Polly's on 1. Nothing terrible, but always something coaches, have to be mindful of, whereas the whole Durham team have only picked up 1 foul.
And so Katie Bennett with the ball. She's obviously just back in her second game back for Durham. July kicks that screen, and the ball swung to Van Stratton. She can't get the 3 ball to go. And Elderkin comes up with the board for Durham. Van Stratton with a nice bounce pass. Find her open teammate, but no good on the open shot. And so Pride come down with it. Karen Cummins in the low block. Tries to go up and under, but can't get it to drop.
Fortunate miss.
And that pass is wayward and picked off by Ella Docherty. She looks to come the other way. But good defense from Durham to force her left. And they come off with a steal. And Eva Kerr with the chase down block on Katie Bennett. A great bit of extra hustle from Eva to get there.
Definitely. You could see her head went down. You could see her going, I'm going for this. She just got that extra little spurt of energy.
So Van Straten with the ball in the corner. And so a foul for Pride, and they are fairly racking up the foul count here early in the game. It's going to be interesting how Coach Donnie McDonald and staff manage those fouls for the Pride.
Yeah, it adds another layer to your coaching, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Van Straten makes 2 of 2, the Dutch Youth International. Ella Docherty handling the ball for the Pride. And it's picked off by, I believe, Barbito. Apologies, it was Ellie Hutchison with the hustle play. And so Rose Harvey with it now. Finds an open Maud Ranger, and she knew that was off straight away as she goes and chases down her own rebound.
You see the Pride coach is maybe just a bit frustrated there.
Yeah, I think there was maybe a push off in that far corner, and Bart Sanger's voicing his frustration at the no call. Ball swung to Sham Phillips with a great look as the shot clock winds down, and Pride will get their first bucket of this second quarter. Van Straten bringing the ball up now for Durham. Jasmine July cutting, kicks out to Van Straten. And it's going to be waved off. It looks like there was a foul on the floor.
I think Durham are doing a really good job of setting those picks and rolling on them. Pride are getting caught maybe a little bit behind. That's where they're having to stick their hands in, trying to get round them.
Baseline out of bounds Durham, and it's picked off, and Ella Docherty comes up with the possession, finds Rose Harvey out in front. She looks to kick to Maud Ranger, and Jasmine July almost got a hand to it, but the Pride will stay with the basketball. Ranger gets a screen from Kerr, finds Ella Docherty open on the perimeter, and shot was just a little strong from Docherty.
2 on the shot clock. Who's it going to, Rory?
Gone with Maud as she tries to get a 3-point shot off, but shot clock violation as that one did not catch the iron. If they'd held the ball slightly longer on the baseline there, they actually had Eva Kerr was wide open as Durham looked to switch the screen for Ranger. Bennett with it now, guarded by Ranger. Ball swung to Jasmine July. Finds a cutting Claire Paxton. She can't get that one
Great
to go.
Great stand there by Rose.
Claire Paxton gets the rebound.
Got her hands up.
Yeah, great defense on the first shot, but she gets her own rebound and puts up a fadeaway jumper. And so Durham will have an 11-point lead in this one. Picked off once again by Ella Docherty. Ella Docherty doing a great job of getting her hands to those loose passes from Durham, and so she drives to the basket and is fouled.
think that'll take Durham on to about 2 fouls as a team. So they don't really have much to worry about there at the moment.
Ella Doherty makes her first. Sham Phillips with a rebound on the missed free throw from Doherty and makes the basket in traffic.
So you just can't switch off.
Barbito is wide open on the 3-point line, doesn't like it. Kicks. And it's back out, swung, great ball movement from Durham. Barbito takes a drive, but no good, and Sham Phillips coming up with it. Rose Harvey looks to pull her second 3 of the night, but can't get it. Rose Harvey started slow from behind 3. Elderkin with it, hands off to Barbito. And she's back in the high post as she tries to find a cutting Ellie Hutchison.
A lot of jump balls, a lot of turnovers so far.
Ella Doherty bring the ball up for Pride. She looks to settle it and get this offense running. 8-point game with just over 5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Head fake from Phillips. She drives right. Rose Harvey, step back, gets the 3 to go. That was a big basket from Rose Harvey to cut down this Durham lead to just 5 with 5.5 to play in this one. It's interesting, Rona. Obviously, we've watched a lot of Durham coming into this one, and not really seen as much dribble handoffs as they usually run. They in the past have got a lot of success off of that, but today it's really been about those dives and cuts to the basket and finding those open cuts. What kind of adjustments do you think Pride will need to make to kind of alter those easy looks they're getting down low?
I think what they're going to need to do is maybe have a little bit of hedge and recover. So, you know, whoever they're guarding, just taking a step off, even getting a hand in the lane just to throw off the player that's cutting through, and hoping that would be enough for Durham. I don't know. I know sometimes you like to switch on everything, but depending on how they're cutting to the hoop, that might not work to their advantage. I think they're doing a great job inside against Cara. She's not really been able to get a huge amount going for what a dominant player she can be. It's just, you know, those second and third cuts that they're still going to get the ball in the hoop, so how do you cover and close down on them? But like you say, dribble handovers, I think, you know, Pride have forced them out of that. Ella's been picking them off, just even coming up the court, or just even the ball pressure they've got, so they're having to adapt to them. So I think that's credit to Pride, but also, like you say, got to find ways now to stop those cuts and those back doors.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would almost say that just looking to bump those cutters, although you're not allowed to explicitly say that or do that in the game of basketball now. But the traditional bump the cutter.
Oh, I need to remember that. Excuse me, you can't bump me, thanks. Yeah, that goes down with my defender next game.
Shan Phillips indecisive on the perimeter, and so she travelled, and it will be Durham basketball.
I think we've seen a bit of that from Pride today, quite a bit. You know, that usually they're confident in knocking down that 3, and with that Rose one, it was actually on, you know, her second. Like you say, she had the shot, but she put the ball on the floor, then came back and scored a beautiful shot. But, you know, maybe just a little bit more hesitant out there at the 3-point line. Don't know if maybe Donnie's told them, you know, get to the hoop, draw some fouls. But then you've got to have the maturity to think, right, where's my shot on, where's it not on? But, you know, we're in a 3-point game.
Yeah,
they aren't doing too
great
bad.
finish from Ranger out of the back of the left hand. And so she brings it back to a one-possession game. Good defense from Pollyanna Story, gets into the lane and stops Barbito from getting an open look. Ella Doherty just looking to force that pass a little bit down low into Story. Rose Harvey puts up a heat check, but can't get it to go. And
Nice
Barbito with a
great finish.
great pass. Rose Harvey driving the lane.
Left.
But I think I saw that
Durham
pass
seems
from
to
here.
pick her up.
So yeah.
Easy one to step across.
And that's going to be a foul on Pollyanna Story.
She's been playing good straight up defence, today. Sometimes she can be guilty of putting her hands in, but she seems to be getting in position, moving her feet and standing straight, which is good to see.
It's so hard as a defender when you see the ball and knowing you have to play disciplined, straight up defence. And as you said, Polly at times is known for trying to get that steal or come up with that block and dropping the hands, but she, as you mentioned, doing a great job of it today. Ranger with it on Bennett, finds Story in the high post, turns and takes the shot, no good, and it will be Durham basketball. We'll see a little bit of full court pressure once again from Pride here.
Their favourite.
And press does the job, frustrates Barbito, and she gets it over the half court, but is throwing the ball out of bounds, and it will be Pride basketball. Shan Phillips driving right, finds Maud Ranger on the perimeter, and she gets that 3-point shot to go, and that will cut the lead back down to 3. Paxton drives. Good contest from Shan Phillips, and so the ball goes out of bounds, and it will stay with Durham here underneath the basket with just 3 minutes to play in the first half. Paxton can't get the shot to go, and Alderton gets down to the floor and manages to come up with the ball for Durham. Shot no good, and Maud Ranger coming down the floor with it now. Takes the 3-point shot, can't get it to go, and it's going to stay with Pride. I think that would be a frustrating shot selection there from Ranger. Not something we see often from her, is she takes an early 3 in the offense.
Yeah, I think she's maybe trying to get herself into the game. She's maybe not where she would usually be by this point in the game. She averages 2 fouls a game, but she's already sitting on 2. Like you say, she's prolific, with her 3-point shot, but she's not been able to get that going. But, sometimes it'll be your day, other times it won't, and she's a good enough player that she'll be able to find ways to, facilitate her team to get that win. But, I think it's quite noticeable. Pride have held Durham to 6 points in this quarter so far. I think you'd be hard pushed to win any game if you're held to 6 points in a quarter. But again, timeout, they might come out of it, get some better structure, get some more points on the board. But Pride really pushing them, staying with them, doing good things well, which is great to see.
Yeah, definitely, and Pride will want to try and eat away at that 3-point lead as we go towards the half.
Look at who Pride's got on the floor. I mean, every single one of them is capable and does shoot the 3. If Durham were to throw that zone on at all.
And they find Shan Phillips on the perimeter. Ella Doherty comes off the pin screen from Ranger. Story backing down on Elderkin, gets the left-handed hook shot to drop. And scary couple of seconds there for Durham fans as they looked as if they were going to turn the ball over, but managed to gather possession. Down low with Van Straten now, kicks out to Paxton.
Great to come up with the rebound there.
Yeah, and Elderkin, unselfish, finds the open Bennett, but couldn't get that to go. And the referees missed a
slight
step
out of
bounds there from Rose. And the cutting Chan Phillip. I think that's what we can call a bump on the cutter, but no call. And so It will be Durham basketball with 1:45 in the first half.
Thing is, with bumping the cutter, you just have to do it a couple of times, and I can guarantee the person's going to be less and less likely to want to come in against you the next time.
Definitely, and the full court press working wonders once again for Pride. Sean Phillips came up with a tip, and Roger managed to find her open underneath the basket. Foul on Rose Harvey.
Yeah, Pride taking this quarter so far 14-6, and I think that's reflected, in their hustle play at the moment. And again, Durham, they just seem to have lost their way again a bit. They got into some nice free-flowing basketball at the end of the first, and they seem to have lost a bit of that again. Is it tiredness? Is it heavy legs? You're just not sure.
Bennett drops a second. Interesting that Park and Abbey London Lions are leading Nottingham Wildcats 28-13 at the end of quarter one. That's in the WBBL Cup final. Apologies, trophy final.
I imagine that'll be a good game as well. Not as good as the game, obviously, as we are watching, but that'll be a good game as well.
Definitely, and good to see that it will be live on Sky Sports as well. WBBL have some great games, and good to see the recognition across the board.
Yep, and they've got, I think it's Lita Manuel Carr and Rhiann Bailey there. I think they're on the Sky Sports team today as well, so great to see some females out there commentating and doing some post and pre-match stuff. I think Claire and Polly look like they're having a wee discussion there about what bumping the cutter is and having your hands up are. It's always good when you can chat to the opposition about your take on things or agree on things.
Barbito makes second, and so it's a 1 point game with just over a minute to play. Rose Harvey with the ball, finds Karen Cummins on the far side. Swung back to Pollyanna Story. Ooh, Rose just with a wayward pass. She had Pollyanna Story open and she knew it, and just a little bit off.
That's two of them on
that one.
Sometimes you can be so open it's too hard to get the ball to them.
Ball swung, Van Straten with the three ball, and that one sneaks over the front iron. And so it will be a 4 point lead with one possession left for Pride to cut down that lead. Chan Phillips kicks out to Karen Cummins, but it's through the hands of the young guard, and so it will be Durham basketball with 14 seconds left in the half.
Psychologically, if they can get a basket, that puts them on a 3 number while Pride are still on a 2 number. Or maybe that's just my brain that works like that.
Barbito driving, puts up the shot, gets it to fall, and so they will get that 3 number, as you mentioned, Rona. And so we'll go into the half. Durham leading Pride 38 to, apologies, 30 to 24. Once again, a big thanks to our sponsors for their constant support throughout this season. And we could not bring you the action without giving them a moment of thanks, as the first half comes to a close. So Rona, the first half of action is now over, and we have, of course, seen a great game so far. It's going to be a close one, probably going all the way to the wire, with both teams looking to advance on each other in the WBBL standings. But of course, it's the beautiful month of March, and we've seen some brilliant basketball from the NCAA. What's your take been on some of the tournament games so far?
Obviously, women's tournament kicks off today, which is great. Really looking forward to watching that. And I think the only problem with March Madness is you literally lose days of your life. Last moment I checked, it was about 4:30 on Friday, and I was just home from work, and now it's 4:45 on Sunday, and I'm not very sure what's happened. So it's been some great games, some big upsets, 15 seeds knocking off 3 and 2 seeds and whatever else. But I think I'd be doing a bit of an injustice if I didn't mention what's been going on the women's side. For those maybe who are listening or watching, have maybe seen it or haven't seen it, Sedona Price, who is a player at, I think, Oregon, has put out a video showing the difference between the women's weight room, which was about 6 or 8 dumbbells and some yoga mats, because, we like to stretch. And the men have got, I couldn't even tell you the size, but they've got multiple squat racks, dumbbells, benches, sort of everything they need. And I guess we were talking only last week about Title IX and International Women's Day, and how, we were feeling good, we were feeling like people were on board. But then I guess this is just a stark reminder that there isn't equality in sport, and there is still so much to do. You could argue that NCAA, it's one of the top levels that you can have for female basketball before you maybe get to the WNBA or pro leagues, and they're still having problems over there. And subsequent videos were posted, the difference between the men's catering, the women's catering, or I guess the bit that got me was the swag bag, what the women were provided against the men. And I did a little bit more investigation onto it, and I hadn't realised, we call it March Madness, we call it Big Dance, we call it Sweet 16, but actually the women's tournament's just branded NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament, whereas the men, it's at March Madness, if you go on the Twitter accounts. And then, so the women have literally got the at NCAA Women's Basketball, and then they've got the Final Four, whereas, for the men, it's branded at every stage, and that was sort of shown in what the men get. And I just think, we've come a long way, most definitely. We've talked about that, especially in the UK, how far we've came. But there's still a lot of work to be done, from the ground level all the way up. And I know what we are trying to get going in the UK here is great. And we want to be able to show that it works. And for the NCAA to come out and be like, oh, sorry, we got it wrong, or it was an oversight. It just doesn't sit right. But I think sometimes, social media, being a teacher, it can be one of the worst things in the world. But also it can be one of the best things in the world, because this potentially has been going on for a long while, but you're able to put it out there straight away. which, like I say, can come back and backfire on you. But actually now the women have got improved facilities. They've come out and issued an apology. And I don't think we're asking for anything major. We're just being like, just give us the same as the guys have got. They're the same athletes. They're playing for the same stuff. You know, they're putting in the same effort. They've both got 64 teams. They've both had to win conferences or, you know, be seeded. So they definitely deserve to have the same as the guys have had. So for me, that was disappointing. The more I read into it, I was just like, wow, you know, even I had been naive to how it's not technically called March Madness for the females or the big dance, just how they're branded. And I know they say, you know, the NCAA, it's a business, it's got to make money, but got to have the same sports treated the same way, or we're never going to get anywhere. So no, excited for March Madness. I think that's an issue, and it's something that's not going to go away overnight. But hopefully, you know, with NBA stars coming on side with it, the WNBA stars coming on, you know, putting it out there as well, hopefully they'll be able to hold them accountable as well. Hopefully colleges and institutions. I see a lot of coaches, I think it was the Stanford coach, put out a great open letter addressing these issues. And things like this, that's what we need to have change, is people like that in positions where they can make change and they want to make change. So great month of basketball coming up, especially if you're not a basketball fan, you're not into it. Switch on a game, catch up. You know, nothing beats that 13 seconds on the shot clock. Someone's got the ball, they turn it over, what they're going to do, or having that last shot, are they going to make it? 99% of the shots you make, you know, are they going to make it, are they not? So great month for basketball, great, you know, to put basketball on the map, but also, you know, do some reading into it, have a look, see where maybe you could help make a difference, or you could help make some sort of impact.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously shout out to Scottish coach Neil Harrow, who will be a part of the NCAA tournament with Troy, and they'll be hoping to get an upset in theirs today. But yeah, as you said, some great games coming up for this month, and if you're not into basketball, it's a great time to spark that interest. You know, some great games already, a lot of underdogs already going through early in the tournament, which, regardless of what your sport is, everyone loves to see the underdog story, the Cinderella story, and that's what March is really all about. But Rona, I wanted to kind of ask you a little bit about, obviously, you playing National League and playing here in this country. What's kind of been your take on, obviously, being a female athlete and playing at the highest level, and whether there is those imbalances there, and obviously playing in this country? How do you feel the National League is represented across both male and female athletes?
I think I have been very lucky. I obviously came through the St Mirren setup, who were historically very strong on the female side. And although you had the Friday night men's games when I was growing up, because we didn't really have a senior women's team at that time, once the senior women's team was on the scene, you know, we got the Friday night games, which were seen as being like the showcase games. I think we're very lucky there, you know, as in how they did push the basketball. And obviously Barry Lang, who's very heavily involved with the Pride setup now, he was my coach for a while, and he really drove forward the women's basketball there. And then obviously being back playing at Lady Rocks, we are pretty much a female dominant club at National League. And again, we have crowds of about 250 on a Friday night coming in to watch us. We have, you know, schools bring along their kids. Glen Boyd, big shout out if they're watching. They're great. You know, they come down, they support us, they get joined in and they're involved. And I think I've been in a very privileged position with my club background. And I think actually there's loads of clubs out there doing good stuff. Like I said, on the female strategy group, there are so many of the clubs in Scotland represented because people want to be there, they want to be involved. I have been on the flip side. I remember one of my more vivid stories is when we get my first senior Scotland caps. We went to Luxembourg and we went with the men's team. I was probably about 18, 19, and there was about 4 or 5 of us that were getting our first senior Scotland caps, and we were away with the men's team, and that was great. But then we started to notice little things like they had money to spend at the airport, or, you know, snacks were provided. I know it sounds childish, but they had things provided, and it sort of transpired they had more funding than us because they had been selected for the Commie Games to go there, so they obviously were on a funding cycle, whereas the female team wasn't. And as my first senior Scotland cap, like, that affected me because I was like, wow, you know, you just felt like you're at the same tournament, you're playing the same teams pretty much, and you're all putting in the same amount of effort, but there was money there for the men, but not there for the women. So as your first sort of experience, it was awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, privileged to have been there, represent my country as I am every time. But as a younger player, you're like, this is just how it's going to be at senior level. Because I guess at younger levels, you maybe don't come together the same. 16s and 18s, you go to your own tournaments or in various countries, but we happened to be joined up on that occasion, and that sort of made me go, all right, like, what can we do different? I remember, I was quite involved with Glasgow Rocks when they started up, doing stats or selling programs and various things. And I remember saying to Team Regional, when are we getting a female team? Because I was like, why don't we have a female team when we've got this men's team up and running? So it's something I've always been aware of. But once you get to Europe, once you get there, it definitely seems lesser. They treat their female athletes well, like I go on about, but I was able to go out there and play. There was lots of girls out there playing, everyone in my team somehow was reimbursed. And although we were basically equivalent of Division 3, that doesn't happen over here at National League. Every single player basically pays for the privilege of playing in National League, and we do it because we love the game. So yeah, I have definitely come across my own inequalities, but at the same time, I think I have been fortunate in how I've been pushed ahead. And there's been lots of guys involved in that as well, as my coaches and physios and various different aspects. So I think having men involved is awesome. It's just, how do we get more women involved? How do we balance that playing field? And I guess I could throw that question back at you, Rory, and be, as a man, why is it that you're keen to be involved in women's sport? Because I guess it would maybe be easier to go down the route of being involved in men's sport. And there's, at the moment, unfortunately, there's more money involved in it. So, you could go and carve out a career probably slightly easier in the men's side with more money than being in the female side. So it's a passion you have, but what is your reasoning? What do you enjoy about the women's game? What do you get out of the women's game?
For me personally, like as a coach, I enjoy coaching the women's teams more because I think there's more of an interaction there from the women's side. They're willing to listen, they're willing to work hard. Whereas sometimes I find when I'm coaching my men's side and in elements of coaching, even youth national league, there's an arrogance around having to coach on the men's side, and you almost have to have that arrogance to then coach, and that's not really my kind of style. I think you can be a lot more, I guess, natural and just yourself when you're coaching the women's side. And I think for me, I enjoy seeing how that helps my players and how their work ethic then helps them to become a better player and be a better basketball player throughout the season. And I think that progression is something that everyone looks for. We look for not just in basketball, but in our lives. We look to be better every day. And so, like, I really enjoy coaching the women's side of things because I think that I know that I'm going to get 100% effort every single time they step on the floor. And that's just guaranteed. Whereas I think with the guys, you kind of have to manipulate that relationship a little bit to get the best out of them. So for me personally, just the work ethic and that face value, the relationships you're able to nurture as a coach, I find it a lot more enjoyable on the women's side.
No, I would totally agree with you there. Having worked at an all-girls school and then gone to working at a mixed school, so boys and girls, it's interesting seeing the differences between coaching the sport, female only, and then coaching men and women, or boys and girls at the same time. I mean, like you say, there's positives, there's negatives to both. And you can tell, I was taking penalties off primary twos this week. Anything to get involved in competitive sport. I won't tell you how many I saved because that was to do with my ego, more so than developing their talent. But, it's these things we want to be involved in sport, especially at the moment. I think anyone would bite anyone's arm off to just, be back on the court playing, whether it was male, female, mixed. You just want to be out there playing at the moment, don't you? You want to be out coaching, you want to be out officiating, you want to be on the table, stats, whatever you can do to be in the room, basically. I think there'll be a lot less fussy people and a lot more people willing to listen after this 47th millionth lockdown that we've gone through.
Yeah, definitely. And I know my players up here at RGU are desperate to get back on the floor, and obviously with the recent government announcements, that's looking like it might be a possibility sometime soon. It's not a never-ending battle to get back to the court, and hopefully we can be on the floor sometime in the near future. especially with the weather this summer, maybe a case for some outdoor basketball as well. But we'll look to bring you back in and into the second half of action as the teams just sanitize before we get the second half underway.
Who would ever have thought that'd be a key component of basketball, sanitising your hands?
Only took a pandemic for us to be hygienic.
Definitely.
And so the second half is underway, and Durham will get us off and running in the action. The 5 on the floor for your Pride: Ella Doherty, Rose Harvey, Maud Rangier, Shan Phillips, and Pollyanna Story. Durham can't get the shot to drop, but a deflection will mean the ball will stay with Durham underneath the basket. Shot goes up from Paxton, no good, but Alderkin pulls down the rebound, finds the cutting Hutchinson, and she makes the layup. Good start from Durham. And Alderkin picks off from Story and gets out in the open floor, and so she will make the second basket for Durham, and the lead extends to 10 for Durham in this one.
It's almost one of those wide open layups where she was so open you could see her slowing down. There's nothing worse than your coach shouting, "You're in," and you're like, I've not scored it yet.
Van Straten with another basket, and so Coach Donnie McDonald will call an early timeout. And Durham off to a 6-0 run in the first minute of action in the second half.
Took them 7 minutes to score 6 points in the second quarter, and they've now scored them in 58 seconds. It just shows you how quickly a basketball game can change and how quickly a team's rhythm can change.
Yeah, it's a game of runs, and Durham are certainly on one, and so Donnie McDonald calls timeout to try and halt that run for the visitors.
Rory, do you think he's going to change up the defence, or is he just going to ask for a little bit more commitment, within the defensive end? What do you think he's going with now?
I mean, both those turnovers are back-to-back turnovers off kind of telegraph passes, as my old man would say. And so I think, again, I said it last week, but ball fakes, moving the defense, and trying to kind of not make those shallow passes, and that's on your teammates. It's not necessarily on the passer. I know a lot of the times we turn the ball over and that's our turnover as a passer, but it's a team game, and sometimes you got to rely on your teammates to get open and make the right angle for
Definitely.
you to make those passes,
Or even come to the ball. If there's one pet hate, it's players standing still, just waiting on it. You've got to go towards the ball. Shorten the distance, increase the
definitely.
success rate.
Stratton brings the ball up for Durham. He pass out from Stratton over her head to Paxton. Paxton can't get the corner jump shot to go. Ella Doherty, a good look there on her left hand, her strong hand, but can't get that one to drop. Ball swung around the top by Durham. Hutchinson driving, kicks out to Barbito, who gets into the paint. Alderkin with the rebound, puts it up, no good, and Holly comes up with the board this time.
It was almost like they lost where the ball was, She came up with that rebound and just didn't seem to be too many people looking at what was going on. Nice dive by Shan.
From Maud Rangier there, and as you said, Shan Phillips driving into the low post, can't get the turnaround shot to drop. Hutchinson looks to go coast to coast. Alderkin once again underneath the basket for the rebound. Can't get that one to go, and it was heavily contested by Pollyanna Story.
Again, gone back to being a little bit frantic. Both ends.
Good defense from Ella Docherty. She gets a hand on the ball. Makes Hutchison think twice about pulling it. Shots thrown up by Barbito, winding down shot clock. Looks like the shot clock is not going to reset.
No, I don't think it hit anything. Both shots missed.
Looked like Shan Phillips came up with the possession there, but I might be wrong. Barbito gets a quick three to drop. That's so
She's
frustrating.
Been good today.
And yeah, set the tempo well for this Durham offense.
Yep. She just seems to pop up when she needs to pop up.
Yeah, definitely. First quarter especially, she was commanding the floor, driving to the basket and getting good look.
Good rebound by Rose, unfortunate to just land that foot and get called for the travel.
Barbito with the ball. Kicks round and Paxton has it on the perimeter, drives right hand, gets a good look, can't get it to drop. She shows her frustration.
I feel like I thought I would have seen Claire going to the basket more today. You know, she's got the height, she's got the ability to get to the hoop, but it just seems to be when she gets there, she hands it off. She likes that baseline jumper though.
Yeah, and she can't get that one to go, and so Modran J driving left hand, goes up a floater, can't get it to drop. Paxton with it, drives the lane, kicks once again, and a good hand from Modran J to get a deflection on the pass from Paxton.
I don't know if you'll agree, Rory, but I sometimes think Durham are being, what would you say, like over generous, you know, passing to each other and passing to each other. You can make one pass too many. I think they've had a few good looks that they've maybe passed up on.
Yeah, it's one of the downsides of this kind of drive and kick offense they have. It's like drive, couple dribbles, maybe get a good look, pass out, drive again, pass out, and as you said, maybe just oversharing the basketball, no one looking to utilise those mismatches.
I mean, lovely work by Elise there, cutting, getting the shot away, but really nice help D over there by Durham. Yeah, I guess it's a game of chance, isn't it? Are you going to get a better look, or if you just miss the best look you're going to get, and then you're forced into a 5-4-3 situation where you're running out of time and kind of have to humph it up, really?
Just looking at the WBBL trophy score just now, half-time, Darken Abbey London Lions leading 56-26 on Nottingham. Nottingham, of course, were due to visit the Pride yesterday, but they had to postpone that game to allow Nottingham to fully prepare for the trophy final.
I actually saw the last time Nottingham and London played, and London, you know, played them well off the floor, so I'll be intrigued to see how it goes. Cup final, anything can happen.
Yeah, definitely. And Rongier finds Elise Tweedy underneath the basket, gets the 2-2 foul, and she uses her height advantage down low. Barbito with
That's
it.
Pride's first point of the game, of the half, sorry.
Alderkin on that dive, and she manages to get the easy bucket. Rongier looks to go to Tweedy, and the foul's called on Alderkin as she looks to make a steal. And timeout is called. And so another break in the action here at the Crag Sports Centre in Edinburgh.
I think you can see, Durham are playing with more confidence. They're finding open looks. They're managing to spread the floor. They've had a few turnovers of Pride, I think, so maybe that's made them play a little bit tight. But I think, Pride just needs to settle themselves. I think Elise has come on and done a great job. She's scored. She's drawn a foul. That's maybe what they're looking for at the moment, just somebody to come on, steady the ship, try and get some points on the boards. Because I wouldn't say Pride are necessarily doing anything really wrong. It's just, the ball's not falling. You've got to make sure if it's not, you're chasing up the rebounds, you're getting as many attempts as possible, and then down on the defensive end, just trying to stop those cuts like we spoke about in the first half. You can see sort of Durham are doing it well. To Pride, they're coming across in the help D, and there seems to always be two of them under the basket closing in on that, which makes it tough when you're going to the hoop.
Yeah, and obviously with Pride, they like to play in the passing lanes, and so that does limit the help that can be there once the ball does get into the paint. But it'll be interesting to see how they manage this now 20-point deficit. I don't know about you, Rona, as a player, but as a coach, I'm always trying to, if it's 20, can we get it to 15? Okay, we got it to 15. Can we get it to 10? That's something that probably look at the scoreboard as a player as well.
Yep, definitely. And also just even if we can't get it to 15, can we stop theirs going any higher than that? One of the coaches, Jim Lay, who used to be involved in our club, he was great at that. He'd set you the target of what to stop them from doing, even if you're going to lose. It's a really positive way of looking at it.
Yeah, and I think just obviously you could look at the scoreboard right now and say, oh, it's 20 points, and as a player your head will immediately go down, whereas if you're thinking, all right, let's get them back to that 15-10, it's something else to kind of think of instead of that large deficit.
Plus 20 points in basketball, that's 7 threes. Not unachievable when you've got another 13 minutes to go, sorry.
Yeah, anything's possible in a game of basketball.
Apart from bumping the cutter, obviously.
Baseline out of bounds to Pride. Caledonia puts up the lefty and it goes.
Nice finish. She's been unfortunate with a few more of her
up there.
Yeah, of her layup finishes, then she finishes that lovely left-hand sort of teardrop straight in.
Yeah. Oh, and it's
nice block.
Great block from Elise Tweedy underneath the basket. Caledonia bringing the ball up the floor once again for the Pride. She's done a great job of handling it here in the game. Into the high post. Story backing down on Paxton. Gets it to go. Don't know if anyone's been watching closely, but it'd be interesting to know what that matchup when Story is guarded by Paxton. She's had some success backing down on her fellow international.
I feel like there's been an awful lot of the basketball coming off people's feet today.
Must have been watching the football earlier.
Pass. Yeah. Oh,
Barbito gets off in the passing lane. Great steal, misses the first, pads the stats. Yeah. And gets the second one to go, and that will extend to 18. Tip throw with herself in the open floor. Kicked out to Pollyanna Story, once again driving at player Paxton. Obviously, you played with player Rona. Is that a matchup that Pride are going to want to go to. Been working for them here in the last little while.
I think they're both very
Back-to-back
similar
World Cup.
players. That the squad I was involved in when we were looking at the Commie Games stuff, Polly was obviously quite young back then, so wasn't around as much. But I think, yeah, it's an interesting matchup. Claire herself still very young, but Polly obviously still at about 18, 19 years old, so about the same height, athletic, like to shoot outside, can get inside. So yeah, I think it's a good one to watch and great for Scottish basketball, to have several players of that calibre in that position.
Yeah, and it's good to see that matchup well-natured as well, that both of them chatting at free throws and, as you said, sharing
Probably
defensive
asking what they're having
tips.
for dinner.
Down screen for Ella Docherty of Flash, and she finds Maud Rongier, and Maud Rongier gets that jumper to fall.
Quieter game from her today, but still influential, still having an impact.
Yeah, definitely a true leader on the floor, and I wouldn't put it past her having a fourth quarter blow up, I'm going to call it now.
There's that baseline jumper.
Yep. Maud Rongier recovers it, goes behind the back, and brings the ball over the timeline for the Pride. High ball screen from Elise Tweedy.
Nice roll off it as well.
And Durham do a great job of hedging, switching, kind of on those screens, and the help is always there to kind of recover, so the roll isn't necessarily open for Pride. Taryn Cummins with a great bit of on-ball defense. She looks to come up with a steal. Shot clock winding down. Bennett will throw one up. Can't get it to go before the buzzer. And that will bring the end of the third quarter, 34-50. The Caledonia Pride losing in this one so far. As you said, a quiet night for Maud, but a true leader on the floor, still coming up with 8 points in this one so far. And again, that sharing of scoring we're seeing across the board. Pride with 6 scorers on the board, and Durham with 7. Both teams, as we mentioned earlier, like to share the basketball and get everyone involved. And so what's going to be the key matchups here in the fourth quarter for us, Rona?
I think, moving away from player on player, I think it's going to be who does what the best. So I think turnovers, throughout this game, I think both teams, whoever goes on to win, coaches won't be best pleased with, how many turnovers both teams have had throughout the game, and just being able to finish. Not necessarily even always under pressure, but just being able to finish the ball. So I think, whoever, it sounds very simplistic, but whoever can, just finish, get the ball in the basket on a good look, and then not turn the ball over, take care of the ball. One of the coaches I had, it was very true. He's like, if your player doesn't have the ball, they can't score. The problem is if your player does have the ball. So if everybody just, steps up, does their own defensive job, then that'll turn, points into prizes, so to speak. So I think that's going to be key, keeping turnovers down, finishing in and around the basket. I don't think either side are really in too much of foul trouble. I think, like you mentioned, Durham, they've had quite a few changes in and out of their team. But I think, they're looking very well coached and they're playing very well together. Like you say, the amount of times they're able to switch or cut bots out or use each other is impressive for a team who haven't maybe been together as long as some others.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting, last time these two met, Pride had 27 fast break points to Durham 6. And the scoreboard is almost flipped this time with Durham 14 fast break points to Caledonia Pride 5. Claire Paxton gets her feet down early, but opts to go on the drive and kicks to Bennett, who can't get the layup to go, and Sham Phillips comes up with a rebound. Pollyanna Story with the hoop shot, can't get it to go. Sham Phillips just catching her breath, I think, on the floor.
Yep.
She could be possibly picked up an injury there.
Hopefully nothing too serious.
Of course, Donny, with his physiotherapy experience, is checking Shan.
Barry doing a great job there of clearing the court.
Shan Phillips is walking, but looks like she might have hurt her ankle there.
Hopefully just one of those ones, you can walk off. Sometimes ankles especially give you more of a fright. And hopefully they actually damage.
I think if you've played basketball, you'll know yourself those ankle pains are something that happen quite regularly in the sport, but hopefully she'll be okay. At least Tweedy checks into the game for her in the meantime. Ella Docherty gets that 2 point to go. Ball swung to Bennett. Bennett finds a cutting Alderkin again, but can't get that one to go.
She's annoyed herself.
Yeah, great pass from Pollyanna Story, finding Maud Rangier in the open floor, and Eva Kerr with the screen on. Maud Rangier gets the mid-range jump shot to go, and it's going to be an off-ball foul there on Alderkin.
I think, they were both jostling for space, but referee saw an elbow come out. So I assume that's what he's called it for.
Ella driving on Hutchinson, kicks out. Maud Rangier with a 3-point shot, can't get it to go. Eva Kerr driving right, backs down to her left side on Paxton, can't get that one to go, and Alderkin comes up with the rebound for Durham. Ella Docherty comes up with another steal, and that'll be her 4th of the night. Yeah, she gets the fast break layup to go, and it's going to be timeout to Durham. Again, a great job from Ella Docherty playing in the passing lanes. That shallow pass across the 2-guard front from Bennett is picked off and converted at the other end by Ella Docherty, as Pride look to cut down to a 10-point game.
Yeah, I always think that pass across the top, it's like passing across the goal face, in football, or it always gives me the fear. I think you've either got to shorten the distance, so you've really got to make sure the player you're passing to is holding off their player, and sort of have a bit of 180 vision to see that nobody's sort of sitting down waiting to sort of pounce out on it. It's the best feeling in the world when you make the steal. It's the worst feeling in the world when it's you that makes the turnover and you're like, there's not much else to do for it. But Pride have come out determined, past few minutes, really stepped up their game, finishing well. They'll be feeling good about themselves. Durham, I assume, will be looking, settle themselves again. They've missed a few easy things around the basket, but I did say, it's going to come down to who makes the least turnovers and who does finish around the basket, these easy shots.
And interestingly enough, Barbito will take the ball up the floor. She's really been
great
key
today
for Durham. Yeah. She's come up at really important times for this Durham side. Alderkin has her pass picked off by Maud Rangier. Maud Rangier finds Ella Docherty on the left side, gets the shot to go, and Durham frustrated looking. They wanted the charge on that one. Hutchinson putting her body on the line to try and get it. Hutchinson driving, kicks to Alderkin. Alderkin drives to the paint. Good defense from Pride, forces the ball reversal. And it's going to be a foul on Pollyanna Story on the floor.
Just a bit too much hit there, I think, from Polly. You could sort of see she was leaning into it, keeping clear out.
Again, those two laughing it off as the ball is inbounded by Durham. Claire Paxton with
They're having their best life.
the pull up, can't get it to go. And that pass is picked off once again, and Durham will come back down the other way. Ava Ketchup with the ball. Hutchinson with it now on point, guarded by Ronche. Goes inside to Alderkin, and Ella Docherty manages to come up with a strip. Ronche into Pollyanna. Shot goes up from Cam Phillips. Good to see her back in the game and not hurting after ankle injury. She's called for the reach.
You know, Elderkin, great player. You can see she's a bit frustrated at the moment, but I think that'll be a 50-50. Frustrated that she's maybe not getting calls she thinks she needs, but also that she's not putting away these shots that she's more than capable of.
Ball swung to Barbito on the near side. She's guarded by Rongier, goes to her right, puts up a shot. Cam Phillips comes up with a rebound for the Pride.
Just look like they're playing a bit tight at the moment, Durham. They've gone away from their passing and moving and easy looks.
Shot clock will reset on the kickball from Pollyanna Story. Hutchinson with it. She just gets it in before the 5-second call. Swung to Paxton, who finds Barbito open on the 3-point line. Can't get it to go, and Cam Phillips once again coming up with the rebound for the Pride. And
drawing the foul as well.
Foul on Pachecha. Rose Harvey bring the ball up now for the Pride. Pride's offense been a lot more patient in this quarter. Pollyanna Story draws the contact on that one from Van Straten, and she will go to the line. Apologies, it's not a shooting foul. I thought she'd managed to get that call.
I think it was a wee bit of a chuck up after the whistle had gone. Might as well give it a try.
Hey, if it works in the NBA, then you got to try and pull it off and get those shots. Shot clock winding down. Pollyanna Story put the 3, but it looked like it was tipped, and so that will be a shot clock violation, turnover, and the ball will be with Durham. Just over 5 minutes to play, an 8-point game.
This is a top court pass again.
Yeah, it's giving me a slight bit of the fear, as you said earlier. Every time I see that pass.
Hold your breath.
Yeah.
Even when you're on the court as well, as a player, you're watching it and you're like half got a step going back up the other end of the court in case they do turn you over.
Yeah, and it's almost one of those ones, like, as a guard, when you pass it, you know instantly once it's left your hands that it could get picked off. And it,
again, sort of trying to bring it back yourself.
Yeah. Good shot from Barbito.
Great
she
rebound.
Can't get that one to go, and a great rebound from Alderkin as she gets the layup to fall. Foul on the floor. Alderkin
takes her to
as you said,
4.
she looks to get She looks as if she's getting ever so slightly frustrated with the game currently. And looks like the referee's just pausing that one to make sure the shot clock is reset to 14. Shan Phillips pass picked off, but Rose Harvey manages to gather back possession, and Maud Rangier with the three-pointer. That cuts the lead back down to 7 in this one. There's just 4 minutes to play to go.
You know Maud's always going to score a 3, it's just when.
Yeah, and
that pass again being picked off. It's got to go towards the ball.
Arbito with it on the far side, guarded by Rangier. Paxton backs down on Story with the shot clock winding down. Turnaround jumper, no good, and Rangier comes up with the rebound for Pride. Pushing the ball the other way now.
Great D again from Pride.
Her left hand gets it to go, and the foul, and so she will go to the line to convert the 3-point play. Claire Paxton trying to get her teammates together there. Motivated.
Like you said, you know, they were 20 points down, and they've just picked them away. You know, they've stopped, they've scored, they've stopped, they've scored, and that's all they need to do.
Yeah, and it's setting up to be a great game, coming right down to the wire in this one.
Most definitely. Makes it exciting for us. It's exciting for the players as well when you're in it, because that's when you become a big time player. I mean, anyone can score when you're 20, 30 points up. It's who's able to go out and score when backs are against the wall and couple of points in it. That's what makes a big time player in my eyes.
And so the 5 on the floor with just under 4 minutes to play for Pride is going to be Pollyanna Story, Ella Docherty, Maud Rangier, Rose Harvey, and Shan Phillips. Ella Docherty to the line to convert the 3-point play. Can't get that one to go, and Durham come up with the rebound. Arbito once again controlling the tempo in this one for Durham. Bennett does a good job of making a good angle for that pass across the top.
Great block.
Pollyanna Story off the block, looks to shoot the 3, throws up the 3 and gets it to go. And so a 2-point game with just 3 minutes to play in this one. This is going to be neck and neck to the very end as Pride look to get their 3rd win of the season. Pass from July is wayward, and so with the kickball, yeah, it's going to be Pride basketball.
I think as well, you know, Pride and Durham, they've both been in close contests, but you know, Pride are currently sitting with 2 wins. They've managed to, you know, hold out and see through those wins, whereas Durham haven't managed that at the moment. So you think that's probably going to become a factor down the stretch, you know. Pride know how to play through it and get the win. So hopefully that will play to their advantage.
Rangier takes the high ball screen from Story. And a great ball fake from Shan Phillips, drives, kicks, finds Rose Harvey open on the 3, but she can't make it, and Phillips
great
comes
rebound.
up with the board. Phillips with the hustle manages to save it, and so another chance to tie up the game for Pride. Ranger off the ball screen. Kicks to Docherty. Docherty with a left-handed floater goes up, but Story pulls down the rebound, and Rose Harvey is open underneath the basket to tie up this one. Last break point there from Durham just to cancel out any momentum off of the tie-up from Pride.
Great offensive board there by Pride as well. What was that, third attempt? That's exactly what you need at that stage in the game.
Jasmine July bringing the ball up the floor for Durham. Finds Barbito. And that across the top pass almost picked off from Shan Phillips, but Claire Paxton driving finds Elderkin, and she's fouled underneath the basket by Shan Phillips.
You know, that's when Durham look at their best, when they're passing and moving, getting to the hoop. Pride have done a great job of snuffing that out until now.
And so Elderkin makes the first. She'll have an opportunity to make it a two-possession game. As she does, and so Pride will bring it up the other way. Pollyanna Story with it at the top. Pass to Maud Ranger, and that one will go out of bounds.
Cara picking up on Polly there.
Yeah, you just feel, you know, Pride, they've managed to get it back to a tie game, but they need to get that vital point to be ahead on the scoreboard.
Great take by Ella.
Easy
turnover.
Yeah.
By Durham.
Back to a
little bit Euro, but I've got sweaty palms.
Yeah, these are the games that you love to be a part of as it's winding down into the final minute of the game. Durham up 56-54, and Bennett drives to increase that lead to 4. But Pride.
Good confidence from her to attack the basket.
Pride slowing down the clock. They'll look to get a good look here. Ranger off the ball screen. Can't get a look. Brings it Cummings. Cummings uses up her dribble, and she'll turn the ball over. Just 30 seconds left. Jasmine July with the basket, and so that will be a 6-point game. Coach Sonny McDonald wants to talk with just 28 seconds left. You can't help but feel that basket there off of the turnover could really be the dagger in this one.
I think, yeah, they're going to come out, aren't they? They're going to advance the ball up the court. It was Pride's timeout, wasn't it, Rory? So yeah. I imagine they'll be going for a quick 3 and then a stop or a turnover, back down, another 3. We got ourselves a ball game. But I think fast hands of Maud potentially being able to turn the ball over down at one end. Again, I'd put my money on Maud coming back down and scoring a 3. But Ella's done a great job, so is Polly, of getting to the hoop. They'd maybe draw a foul as well. Another way to get a 3-point play out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Whatever they do, they'll need to get a quick basket here. And as you said, Coach Sonny McDonald calling timeout. We'll get an opportunity to advance the ball and draw up a half-court set. So difficult watching the NCAA men's tournament, and I can't help but find myself shouting, call timeout, advance the ball, and of course, not a rule.
Well, no, they're taking it from the back. I mean,
interesting.
I don't know. Intrigued.
Maybe Luke. Oh, and a foul called on Stratton as she looked to fight over that screen. You know, sometimes opting to go for that full court allows you to get a bit of steam built up.
Momentum.
Running into the defense. And worked well for the Pride there.
Yeah. But getting the foul isn't maybe ideal because, there's now less than 24 seconds on the clock. So if Ella scores this, Durham calls a timeout, they can advance the ball, and then they just have to hold the ball. Pride will be forced to foul, I guess. Interesting. Yep.
And as you called it, Durham will take their timeout.
There we go. I know what I'm talking about sometimes. It's unusual, but there you go. Okay, I think actually maybe he won't push it up the court, but he probably will, won't he? Because he won't want to turn it over. Because Pride would press.
Yeah, it's almost, what do you limit yourself to? Getting pressed in the half court or on the full court? It's obviously bringing the ball up would burn more time off that clock, but be interesting to see what Coach Lee Davey will look to do here. Just
you also know
4 points in this one.
You also know if you're the player that gets inbounded to, you're about to get battered, because the other team are going to want that foul called quick and fast. So you're always a bit, I don't know about you, Rory, but you're like, right, I'll get my elbows up to catch this, but I'm probably going to get hit 3 different ways on this pass. Always fun.
Yeah, I was never the best free throw shooter, so I often was the one they were looking to batter out, I should say. And so Durham advanced the ball, 14 seconds left on the shot clock. A great steal from Ella Doherty. Pushes it up the open floor, goes left. Good defense from Claire Paxton, and it's going to be Pride basketball underneath the basket. I think she thought that might have taken a deflection off Ella. Maudrangier with the 3, can't get it to go, and so Barbito with the rebound, and she's fouled with just 10 seconds left. It was a good look for Maudrangier. She was open, but just long on the 3-point shot. She looks to be a little bit disappointed that one didn't fall.
Donnie's got any timeouts, I'm sure they'll be coming after this free throw.
I don't know the Craig's scoreboard well enough, but I don't think he does have a timeout left in this one.
Nope.
And so at that point, it's a 5-point game. Ella Doherty feeds Rongier off the last miss. She misses again and can't get the vital 3-point shot to fall. And Pollyanna Story fouls Elderton underneath the basket, and she'll go to the line.
Let's see if she's able to ice them both, close it out for her team.
Yeah, she makes the first. Yeah. And so that will be the ball game here at the Cragg Centre in Edinburgh. Durham will get their first win of the WBBL season, 63-56 over Caledonia Pride. The next game for Durham will be this Wednesday at Cardiff, and meanwhile you will have more Caledonia Pride action coming up on Wednesday against Nottingham Wildcats. Nottingham obviously in the WBBL trophy action today against Barking Abbey London Lions. Once again, from myself and Rona, thanks for joining us and watching this stream brought to you by Stream Scene. We look forward to you joining us again on Wednesday for more WBBL action as Caledonia Pride take on Nottingham Wildcats.